I know sometimes when it comes to visualizing your dream life, there will be moments where you begin to feel like it's a little bit too far fetched to achieve what you want to achieve, but trust me, it is possible. And I say this because 3 years ago, if you told me that I would get to a place in life where I get to support my family and help people and make money in the process, I would have said you're nuts. Because just over 3 years ago, I was in a position where we would have to penny pinch to buy water. We would have to ask our relatives from different countries who live in different countries to give us money so we're able to survive. The way I used to escape life reality was by making TikToks. I used to make TikToks all the time, and I don't know why I used to make them. I think it was mainly because of two things. One, I loved making videos because I used to watch two people specifically, David Dobrik and a guy called Kelly Wakasa, and those people kind of like the gave me the love for making videos. And I think when I was forced to move back in with my mother, of course, during a time when I didn't have a good future ahead of me. Like I remember me and my mother used to fight every day about my future. I told myself that maybe, just maybe, if I pick up the camera again, in a different way, of course, perhaps not vlog, but if I just do something with a camera, I could get closer to my dreams. Of course, I'm not in LA or in New York, but what I am doing is changing people's lives. And I think if I keep doing that more and more, I will eventually get to a point in life where I get to experience more of what I want to experience. Because everything that I've achieved up to this day has been nothing but me just helping people in exchange for what I'm looking to gain out of life, which is money to support my loved ones. So when it comes to visualizing more stuff, I feel like I'm a little bit out of frame, but anyway, so if you're visualizing something that brings you joy, don't let it go. Do not let it go. I think my long-term play will be for me to make enough money that I'm able to support my family, but at the same time be able to do what I used to love doing, which is making vlogs. And I think if I just keep sticking to what I'm doing right now in terms of taking action and working on myself and helping people, I know that my long-term play in life within the next like few years, maybe like 2 years, will be way bigger than I ever could have anticipated. Sometimes I think people need to understand that you don't have to think small to make sure everything fits under your current circumstances. If you're not in the perfect circumstances, feel free to dream as big as you want. And that's not because that helps you become a visionary. No, it is because there's genuinely no limitations to what you can and can't do. You have the ability to do every single thing you want to do. The problem is people think that they need to figure things out right away. They think that if they want to plan for something big, it needs to happen just as the way they want it to happen. But you need to understand that just because you planned for something doesn't mean it will go according to your plan. If you have a plan that's big, trust me, you will go through many chapters in your life to build you up to the point you eventually get to experience the big vision that you've always dreamt to experience. Because if you were gifted everything that you've ever dreamed of, regardless of how big or small it is, today, I promise you, you would break within a short period of time. And that wouldn't be because you're a bad person or you're not smart enough. It would be because you do not have the characteristics and the capacity to hold that dream that you've always dreamt of. So by walking through life and taking everything as a lesson, and everything as a mini chapter that you have to go through, trust me, it will eventually lead to your big dream. And I remember when I first started doing all of this, like doing this whole online business and making money and all that kind of stuff, I remember my mother didn't really support the idea, and I get it, she didn't really grow up with the possibility of doing such thing. But in my mind, I knew that everything that I'm doing now will definitely yield great results in the future, and it didn't disappoint. But of course, my mother didn't understand that. She thought that the circumstances that we're going through is because of my father, and thanks to my father, I will never be able to have a future. But I've always told my mom that what happened to my father is his universe works is his doing and is only affecting him. It does not affect my long-term play in life. It does not affect who I am. It doesn't change the fact that I am my own being with the ability to make my own choices. It doesn't affect my brother. It doesn't affect you. What happened to my father, which is something that's very big and I do not wish on anyone, happened because of him, and it only affects him. Sure, in that short period of time, it affected everybody associated with him, but in reality, if we take a look at the bigger picture, it doesn't change a thing. What happens in my life will only be because of what I choose to do on a day-to-day basis. And I choose to dream big. I choose to think big. I choose to take many steps and not let go of my big dream, but of course go through many series in my life where I try different things that could build me up to the point I could finally experience what I wish to always experience. So what I want to tell you is make sure that you don't worry too much about what's going on in your life. Don't try to associate who you are and who you should be and how your future should look like according to your current circumstances. Your current circumstances do not define who you are, do not define the kind of person you will be. It does nothing. What happened in the past happened in the past. Do not blame your parents for what's going on. Of course, if you're born in third world countries and you have wars going on every single week, sure, then you can blame the world for what's going on because your cards are stacked against you to the point you don't really have a choice to make a decision. But if you're not that kind of person, and if you're born in a good country and you have a roof above your head, connection to a Wi-Fi, a bed to sleep on, then what is your excuse? There's no excuse. If you have a dream, get the right education to help you get to where you want to go. By education, I don't mean just school or college. I mean like books, courses associated with the kind of person you want to be and the kind of field you want to get into. Take many steps because everything has a cause and effect. The cause is you taking action. The cause is you learning more. The cause is you developing as a person. And the effect is you getting to experience what you want to experience. The effect cannot happen on its own, okay? You have to make the choice. So everything that happens in your life is of your cause and your cause alone. But the problem is most people are on autopilot. They go through life not really aware of the fact that they are the cause of their current circumstances. If people just become aware of their thoughts, of their actions, of their surroundings, they become more aware. And I've talked about the power of awareness and why every person should be somewhat self-aware in many of my past videos before. But what I'm trying to say is every person needs to be aware. Because if you go through life on autopilot, then life will keep unfolding on autopilot. But if you finally begin to watch your thoughts, watch your feelings, watch your behaviors, watch your actions, and you begin to create intentionally instead of on autopilot, trust me, not so far in the future, you get to experience some of what you have wished to experience years ago. Think of it as daydreaming. Most people sit down on a bed or on a chair and they begin to daydream about their dream life. You know what's the difference between daydreaming and, let's say, visualizing your dream life? Daydreaming is just on autopilot. It's blank. You're just imagining scenes that do not bring any sort of feeling inside of you. It's just happening. Visualizing, you're creating intentionally. You're adding colors. You're adding life to... Who texted me? Oh, it's my best friend. You're adding life to the picture. You're adding more details. Daydreaming is just happening on autopilot. So don't choose to daydream. Choose to create intentionally with your mind and also choose to create intentionally in the real world. Because like I mentioned, you are the cause to every effect in your life. And if you're going on autopilot, trust me, that cause will happen no matter what. Because it doesn't matter if you're aware of it or not. Things will unfold according to your cause. So make sure that you are very intentional with your cause. The actions that you take, the thoughts that you think, the feelings. Take control over your body and your internal world and change your internal world. So then the life that you wish to experience unfolds. Sure, not according to your exact detail, but it will unfold one way or another. Don't worry about the how or the when. Just worry about developing yourself as a person to finally see change in your life. Everything begins in the mind. And if you take control of your mind and you feed it the right stuff, the rest will take care of itself. Okay, read books, watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, do whatever you can do on a day-to-day basis to develop as a person. Figure what lights you up. Is it art? Is it soccer? Is it any kind of sport? Whatever it is, indulge yourself in it and do not fear to dream big. Sure, that big dream will take years to take place, sometimes months. Honestly, it depends on how ready you are. Because life cannot just give you, like I mentioned, everything that you're looking for at the moment. You have to be developed as a person to finally get to experience what you want to experience. So grow as a person. So then life could then be like, you know what? This guy is ready. She is ready. Let me give him/her whatever that person needs. This is how life works. Don't worry if things didn't go as well in the past. Just make sure to not associate yourself with the past. Because one story that I love a lot is the story of Lut from the Bible. If you know anything about the Bible, of course, you don't have to be religious. You can always just read those books because it does hold great spiritual lessons in it. But in the Bible, there was a guy named Lut. And long story short, when he was going out of his city, his wife was ordered by God to not look back. So God ordered both Lut and his wife and the people that were going out of the city to not look back at the city while God is destroying the city. What does the wife do? She looks back and she turns into a pillar of salt. Now, looking at it, it looks like a story. Like, she didn't obey God's command and she looked behind and she turned to a pillar of salt. But if you really dig deeper into the more mystical side of things, you would understand that God is basically telling people to not look into the past, to let go of the past and keep moving forward. Because if you keep looking back and worrying too much about what's behind you, you will never be able to see the road ahead of you. And that's why I always encourage the people that I work with to just be present. And I know it's easier said than done to just tell people, be present. Don't worry about the future. Let go of the past. It does take practice. But trust me, the sooner you start, the faster your life gets better. So it's always better to start today, right here, right now, instead of waiting for just the perfect moment. Because if you want your dream big life to unfold, you need to start now. Because the last thing you should be telling yourself in 10 years from now is, I wish I started sooner. You had all the time in the world, yet you chose to lay it off, to wait for the right moment, or to wait when the circumstances are right. Trust me, nothing will change until you change. Nothing will go your way until you begin to create intentionally. I hope this yapping session wasn't too much. I like to make these yapping sessions every now and then. There are many of those which I do not post. I don't know if I'll post this. I might not. But I guess what I'm trying to say to the world is, your life will change when you begin to change. And your big dream will unfold in the future. You just have to go through many chapters in your life to build you up to the final stage of your chapter. Because at the end of the day, life cannot reward you with something that could break you.